I used to be a young person who spent money on things. Now I'm old. I don't have a lot of money. But you know, que sera, sera. Hello YouTube, I'm Great Aunt Lydia. Welcome back to another video where I am exploring what is out there in the culture. Trying to be part of the conversation, you know. So today we're talking about a very interesting phenomenon that I just discovered. I had heard about it, of course KJ watches it, is a big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. That's what we're talking about today. So the RuPaul Drag Race is a show where these mostly men, most of them identify as men. There's been a couple of trans women, and there's been some trans men contestants, but mostly and some they them, some of the non-binary folk. Yes, I'm quite liking this new terminology, the they, them. It's very non-binary. I like it. I like a shade of gray because so much of life has shades of gray in it. I think it's wonderful. Gives people more ways to express who they are inside. I think it's lovely. So these people come into the RuPaul's Drag Race and they are drag queens. So they dress up. It gives this. It's not just female illusion. I've learned through watching the show. I've binged it, as they say. I've watched all of the seasons in the past couple of weeks because I have that kind of time. I am an old lady who is retired with nothing else to do except this show. So they are drag queens. There were many terms back in my day that we used to use for men who dressed up as women. A lot of them were not very nice, I will say. But you know, I have always loved the gay community. But so I watched all of the Drag Race. They're on the season, I haven't watched the latest season, which is, I believe, season 14. And there's all sorts of around the world drag races now. There's lots of Europe. Lots of Europe is happening. There's a Canada. I haven't watched any of the international ones. There's also an All-Stars where they bring back queens from other seasons. I haven't watched any of those yet. Those are on my list. Maybe that could be a separate video. But I find this show so exciting. I love it. I think it's very heartfelt. I think it's wonderful. It's just entertaining is what it is. So there are challenges that they have to do. Some of them are small little things they do in what they call the workroom. And those are mini challenges. And then there are bigger challenges that are like the main point of the show. And then there's a runway at the end. And it's a fashion and it's wonderful. It reminds me of it's like a mix of that Project Runway with that lovely Tim Gunn and like an American Idol sort of situation. And it is just amazing to watch some of these men transform into these beautiful women. And some of them you don't even recognize when they're in the drag and when they're out of the drag. It's so fascinating. And I do have to, this is what we call a backhanded compliment. Some of the honest looking boys make the most beautiful women. It's an interesting phenomenon happening on the Drag Race. So every episode has the small challenge where they have to do something like make an outfit very quickly, or get into what is referred to as quick drag, where they only have 20 minutes. I can't do my own makeup in 20 minutes, and it's not that good, as some of you have commented. And then there are bigger challenges. Sometimes they make an outfit. Sometimes they have an acting sort of thing, which are, they're not very good sometimes, you know? That's not nice to say, but they're not. There is one challenge that everybody seems to love, which is based on the match game. I love the match game. I used to love to watch the Snatch Game. You know, I met that Charles Nelson Riley at a dinner party once. Delightful man. So, and on a few of those, I haven't known the person that the queens are impersonating. I've had to look them up. Like I knew, of course I knew Cher, I knew of the Britney Spears. I don't know a lot about her, but I knew of her. I knew she was a person. I knew about the Adele because we did a video about the Adele. I knew about the Lady Gaga, which none of those were very good. I have heard of the Beyonce. We should do a video on that. I should listen to Beyonce.
Oh, we really should.
Those weren't very good either. I think there have been like 4 queens who have done Beyonce, and none of them have been good. But anyway, after they do the big challenge comes the runway. I do love the runway. Just seeing what they're so innovative, these queens. And then the judges will critique them. There is that lovely RuPaul who just always looks so stunning. It makes me want to set myself on fire, quite honestly. How does RuPaul look that good? I don't understand. And then there's the Michelle Visage, who for a long time had very, very, very large boobs, but she recently had them taken out. They were implants, I believe. Something about her health or something, I don't know. But I couldn't compete with her. I've always had the chest of a 12-year-old boy. Let's just face it. And for a long time there was that Santino Rice, who was on the Runway Project. He was a contestant on that. I watched him on that. That was one thing I watched when it was on. I loved that show. Now there's those 2 lovely boys. There's 2 wonderful boys. There's the Ross Cressley and the Carson Matthews. They're wonderful. They're just so sweet. You can tell they're very intelligent, very, very versed in the entertainment industry, very fashion forward. They're delightful boys. And there's always some sort of guest judge, or 1 or 2. I often don't know who they are. I assume that they are people who are very popular with the young people, of course, because that's, where the money is. So once the judges, they determine the tops and the bottoms of the queens of the week, and then comes the part that I'm just so fascinated by, which is where the queens have to lip sing for their lives. It's so fun to say. But a song plays and they do the mouthing of the words, and it's a performance, which I understand is a very common thing to do amongst the drag community, lip singing. And it's very fun to, well, most of the time it's very fun to watch. Some of them are better than others, of course, like any art form. Some of them are just very boring. And then after they do the lip sing, RuPaul tells one of the queens they can stay, Ashante, you stay, which is very fun, or he tells them to sashay away. I love these reality shows because they all have some form of that. It's not just, you're going home. There's the Shantay, you stay, and the sashay away. Like, there's the pack your knives and go on that Top Chef with that Padma Lakshmi. She's delightful. Project Runway, I'm sorry, you're out. The catchphrases are just fun to say. So so that's the show itself. Now I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite queens on the show. There's that Jinx Monsoon. Oh, she was delightful. She played Little Edie in the Snatch Game. I met Little Edie once, many years ago, just in passing. And then there's Bianca Del Rio. She's very, very smart, very witty, very, very funny. I understand she's doing very, very well for herself, performing everywhere. She was in one of those, the musicals downtown recently, right?
Yeah, the Amazon.
And then there was the Latrice Royale, which is very, very fancy. Gorgeous, gorgeous queen, wonderful lip syncs with the Aretha Franklin. Oh, it was so beautiful. Just the way she just emoted. It was like I was watching Aretha Franklin herself. And then there's that Russian girl, the Russian, I'm gonna get the full name. She goes by Katya, but the full name is Katerina. Okay, I'm gonna look it up on my cellular. Ekaterina Petronova Zamolotchita. No, maybe just cut that part out and go with the Katya. I didn't study Russian. There's that wonderful, there's so many wonderful queens, but there's that Kim Chi. She always does very interesting things with her makeup. I'm just fascinated. But apparently she owns a makeup company now. So that's very exciting. Good for her. Very, very good for her. What a platform. And then there are other queens, you know, who I just don't think they get a very good showing on the show. You know, competitions can bring out the worst in some people. You know, I don't think you're bad people. I think that they just, you know, a lot of them say that, oh, well, I was edited to look that way. And I don't know if that's totally true. I mean, you can edit these, I suppose, to make me look bad, but also, like, you have to say things, right? If you say a thing, you've said it. And, there, you know, that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. People can change over time. You know, like there was a lot of vitriol I saw about that Fifi O'Hara. And, you know, she was on the television almost 10 years ago now. And I'm sure she's not that way in real life all the time, you know. Or that Roxy Andrews, I was rather annoyed with that Roxy Andrews, with the way that she was treating Jinx Monsoon. But of course, you know, it's also, you have to remember, it is a television show. So they have to create, the storyline has to be created, of course. And you have to remember that it's also, because here's the thing, I have noticed, and I've been told, that the fandom of Drag Race is very, very, shall we say, passionate about it. You have to realize, people, this is a television show. And these queens are real people behind it, you know, behind the facade of beauty and fabulosity that is these queens. There's a person there. You should be nice. We should all just try to, you know, that adage of if you have nothing nice to say, just say nothing at all, is a very good adage to keep in mind from behind your little keyboards. And I've been looking into a lot of what the queens have been doing after the show, and it's just so wonderful. What some of these queens are doing. They're performing, they're putting out music, some of which is better than others. They're acting, they're doing their makeup lines. It's wonderful. And it's the way that this is elevated what used to be such a shameful thing of drag. You know, I remember when the things people said about the gay community, and especially the drag queens, just horrendous. But now, and I think that's the thing, is when you have the exposure to something, you can understand it a little bit more. You may not agree with it, but you can understand it more. And that's really all any of us are trying to do, isn't it? Is just understand things more. That's what I'm trying to do with this entire little YouTube series. It's just understand things more. That's all I want. So I'm very excited. I'm going to start watching this latest season, the season 13. The season 14. I just finished the 13 because that lovely Simone won. I was so excited that she won. She was such a treat to that Simone. And beautiful, beautiful girl. Oh, and the looks. The looks. But I'm excited to get into this next season. And then I'm going to watch the All-Stars seasons. There are I think 6 of them now, right? And I've heard some very good things about the All-Star seasons. So I'm looking forward to that. So maybe we'll make a video about the All-Star seasons eventually. Yeah, maybe. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. And I hope that you like it in the YouTube sense of the word with the thumbs, you know. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. And what are all the other things I'm supposed to say? You know, like, subscribe. There's a bell to ring of some sort. I'm not exactly sure what it means still. I'm working on it. I understand it's some sort of way to get notified when a video is posted, which I suppose is convenient. And I hope you join me on the next video. And my dears, I hope you have a lovely, lovely week.